Welcome back, clinical problem solvers, to part 2 of the case that we discussed. Many of you correctly identified it as intussusception. First, we're going to talk about the pathophysiology of intussusception, but more importantly, we're going to talk about the cause of the patient's intussusception. Because ultimately, when you arrive at intussusception in adults, which is very rare, it is a proximal diagnosis, meaning you have to search for an etiology. All right, you need a sock. You absolutely need a sock to understand intussusception. I want you to imagine that this is the beginning of the small intestine, this opening right here. And we know these organs are connected to the peritoneum through the mesentery. Something happens, like a lead point, a mass, or something that causes a segment of bowel to telescope on another segment, literally intussuscepting on another segment. And when it does so, it draws in the mesentery, and in the mesentery are the vessels, the vein, the artery, the lymphatics. And because of the difference in density of tissues, this is why on CT scan, you get a target sign or a donut sign. So you should never forget this. Intussusception. One segment of bowel, it can be anywhere along the small intestine, the large intestine, telescopes into another segment. And when it telescopes, takes the mesentery, the vessels, the difference in density of tissue leads to the donut sign or the target sign. Once you identify intussusception, and remember in adults it's rare, the presentation tends to be subacute to chronic, and it doesn't have the triad that we see in the pediatric population of, I don't even know what the triad is because I'm an internist, but if you know the triad, put it down in the comment section. Once you diagnose it, then the next question becomes, what's its management? There aren't large data sets to guide management in adults, but the majority, if not all, need to be taken to the OR. Because not only do you want to correct the one segment of bowel telescoping on the other segment, but you also want to identify why did it happen? Because in adults, 90% of time, there's a lesion. And most often, it's a neoplasm, a cancer. But it could be anything that has a lead point, and that lead point disrupts the motility, causing potential telescoping and target sign. It can be a polyp. It could be a stone. It could be endometrial implants, anything. So our patient, remember, presented with nausea, vomiting, and had abdominal tenderness, not much distension, was taken to the OR immediately after the CAT scan resulted. And in the OR, they couldn't find the lead point. They ended up reducing the intussusception, but there was no mass, no polyp, nothing could they identify. So what was the cause in this patient? The cause in our patient was actually cannabis use. And huge shout out to the person who commented on that in the previous video. You see, cannabis is known to do this, and the way it does it is by impacting the motility of the intestines. Some areas are contracting well, other areas are not contracting well, and this desynchrony can make some vulnerable to intussusception. It's very rare, but so many people use cannabis that it's an important diagnosis to consider.